Hey guys, and welcome back to Terrafirmagreg. As you can see behind me, I did a little bit of decorations. Made the wall look a lot better by adding some windows, a little bit of chiseling to make some cool, interesting patterns. And I've done a few other things. Let's go see what they are. We've got some birch planks that I put down to make kind of a pathway through the factory here. Kind of divides up the sections a little bit. So I did that. I've been letting the ore washer run for a while and the thermal centrifuge, and I was getting so much stuff I had to put a steel crate down here. Because look at all this stuff. And the steel crate is not quite full, not even half, but it's still running. I haven't even processed half of what I've got in the vaults there. And I know this corner didn't quite fit exactly how I wanted, but I think I'm going to push this wall back just a little bit anyway, because ultimate plans, I think I want to have a train come and go from the front. Well, I don't know, what is the front of the building? So like right about here, have kind of another building that comes out, and it's going to be like a stop for a train, and then have the train go cross this way and turn and then cross over the river and have it go down all the way to where we have our trees and our kapok trees, where we're getting our rubber from. Well, at least the stuff that we can turn into rubber, because I need a lot of rubber. And I did have some kapok trees over there, and I've been cutting them down and sticking them in the vacuum right here. And you can see the latex is coming, but it's so slow. It's so much faster if we just go down south and pick up the 7 barrels, because, I mean, look at that. That's not even a barrel. And this has been going for, like, in real time, probably about an hour or two. So yeah, much better to get the latex from the trees over there. And if I set up a system that will automatically drain the barrels and put it in a big drum, maybe like one of those multi-drums like we have down here, like this one right here. I mean, this can hold 1,000,000 buckets, is that right? No, 1,000 buckets? Yeah, it's 1,000,000 millibuckets, so 1,000 buckets. So if we had this just sitting there next to the trees, just sucking up all the wonderful latex that it can, then we have the train stop by, pick it up, and then come back to here, and maybe we could have another drum somewhere to hold it and then process it into our rubber. So yeah, that's future expansion. That's way farther, because we're gonna need a train and tracks, lots and lots of metal and iron, I'm sure. Another thing that I did was I went ahead and grabbed that input bus that I thought I needed. And so we've got an input hatch for the creosote. We also have an input bus for charcoal. So I extended the item pipe here so that this charcoal will come out and also go into the large bronze boiler. Just having the 3 coke ovens and producing the creosote and just feeding the creosote to the large bronze boiler, it was not enough. I had to up the throttle to 75% because I was not only using the steam over here, but I was also using the steam over there for the ore processing. So I had to throttle it up, and it's using more now. But with this here, the charcoal and the creosote, I can actually have just the 3, and I'm producing enough to run the large bronze boiler almost at 100%. I bet if I upped it to 100%, it would still be good. So we do have one more machine that we did not put over here, and that is the centrifuge. We've got the thermal centrifuge here, but if you take the stuff that comes out of the sifter and pass it through a centrifuge, you get even more stuff, For instance, let's see. That's a good example. So like the rubies that we've been getting, we look at the ore processing diagram. After the basic sifting, you can take this purified pile of ruby dust and pass it through a centrifuge and get regular ruby dust and a little bit of red garnet dust as well. And with the Certus quartz, that is the exact same thing, and we'll get a little extra quartzite dust, which I was going to say is not very useful, but if you have quartzite dust and a little bit of flint dust, you can actually make glass dust. Oh, and that reminds me, the mixer. This is another thing that I did. I went ahead and created a steel mechanical mixer. It goes in the same spot that the mechanical press does. If I need to use the mechanical press, I'm going to just swap it out. But the mixer actually makes it a lot easier to make red steel. Because what you really want to do is you want to make red steel dust. Because red steel dust you can melt and turn it into ingots. But the really good thing about redstone dust, or not redstone, really good thing about red steel dust is that you can just mix the black steel, brass, rose gold, and steel and create red steel right away. You don't have to do the intermediary step of making high carbon steel ingots, because what you would have to do is you would have to go through the process of getting like the weak red steel and weld it with the black steel to get the high carbon red steel, and then the high carbon red steel you would have to hammer again in order to get the red steel ingots. There was a lot of hammering and welding, and it's just not as efficient. With the red steel dust, it's so much easier. In fact, maybe we should just do a quick batch of red steel to show you how easy it is now. So we want some red steel. We could actually, if we wanted to, go ahead and put that in our tree. Makes it pretty easy. And you can see that we're going to need the black steel. The black steel comes just from steel, nickel, and the black bronze. So really, all we really need is 5 steel, a rose gold, a nickel, a brass, and a black bronze. So let's collect those, and I'll show you how easy it is to do. So you do still have to make the black bronze. But to make black bronze, it's really easy, because the black bronze is just some gold, copper, and silver. We could come over to our crucible and our handy dandy little list here, and oh, we need black bronze. Just throw in 6 copper, 2 silver, and 2 gold, and melt it. Oh, and I think this is new as well. I hooked up just a water wheel here, so it would be pumping this automatically so I don't have to. And I also put in a chest with a chute and a pipe, an item pipe that goes all the way to the top. I had to move the ladder, but oh, come on. I gotta move the ladder, but that's okay because I don't really have to use the ladder anymore, because the item pipe comes all the way up to here and then spits out right into the blast furnace. So I don't even have to climb up there anymore. I just have to come here, throw stuff in, it'll go up and be ready. Now I put the filter on here so that if I accidentally put anything else in here, it will not go up. The only thing it will accept is the coke for the fuel, some cast iron ingots as the iron that it needs, and the flux. And so those are the only 3 things. And put it in a list filter, so I don't inadvertently throw stuff up there and in there, because that'd be a real pain to get. And if I want to, I can also take this pump and put it right there. And if I put it right there, I can take the crucible out, and when the pig iron is done and ready and in here, I can suck it straight from the blast furnace right into here. And so I don't have to wait for this to drip down into the crucible anymore. But then if I'm making any other kind of alloy, if I want to, I can just swap it to right there, throw stuff in there like I'm making black bronze, and then just pump it out like normal. Yeah, so I need a black bronze dust because the mixer only uses dusts. But it's really easy to get a dust. If I just crush this, it'll create a dust. Like so. And there it is. Black bronze dust. I've got one rose gold ingot left here, so I can just do the same thing and stick it in here and crush it into a nice dust. There's a brass ingot I can use. I also need a nickel, which I've been putting in with the zinc because I don't really have a lot of zinc right now. But this nickel dust is just a byproduct that I got from doing the ore washing. So it's coming in handy already. If I really needed to though, if I had some other nickel like this, I could just crush one of these ingots. So I also need 5 steel dust, and that should not be a problem. I got 5 right there. Oh, in fact, I have a couple of black steel dust left over that I could use, but we're going to make it and show you guys what I did. So here we are, brass, steel. There we go, got our brass dust, our steel dust. It's just that easy. Throw some steel ingots in. Now, this is the only way that you can get steel dust. You do have to go through the process of making the steel in the blast furnace, getting the pig iron, and then taking the pig iron and, you know, smashing it a couple of times. But it does make making the red steel so much easier. So now we come to the basin, put up some walls so that I don't throw over, because I kept on throwing over the basin. So now I can just throw it right there. I'm good. So we need the 4 black steel. So we're going to throw in the 3 steel that we have here, plus the nickel and the black bronze. It'll mix. And there we go, 5 black steel dust. And then of course for the red steel, we need 4 black steel. So I'll leave one of those, throw 4 in, throw in the other 2 steel dust, the rose gold, and the brass. And that will give us a red steel. And there we go, 8 red steel dust. Now unfortunately you cannot throw these in the high pressure steam furnace. That does not work. If we had the EBF running, we could actually do that. That's what we're getting to eventually. However, you can still heat it up and melt it into liquid red steel. So what I found was the easiest, and I don't know if this is actually the easiest, maybe I'm missing something, but if I just come to the crucible and throw these in, I can heat it up just like that. Okay, one more time, we'll put it up hot enough to melt these, and they will melt into the crucible, and they get sucked right out into the molds, and voila, 8 red steel ingots. No hammering required. Woohoo! So yeah, that was pretty easy, and I kind of enjoy making red steel now. But as I said, we need to make that centrifuge. However, I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have enough power. In fact, just with the 2 turbines here, that alone is not enough power to do the washer, the thermal centrifuge, and the sifter all at the same time. So we need to make another turbine. I think that is everything gathered that we need except the 7 rubber sheets. And we've got a bunch of raw rubber pulp here. Oh, looks like we're gonna need more sulfur dust. Yep, I knew we had some. Might have to get some more because we're running out. Never mind, I've got plenty. There we go, that ought to do it. Now we can start making the in-between parts. Some of those. A couple electric motors. LV machine case. Oh, yep, gotta have the right wrench. Machine case, check. LV machine hole, check. Okay, let's make the circuit board. So we go make a couple of vacuum tubes using our wonderful assembler. I love how you can click on this, hover over here, and see what you need. Oh, I gotta put 2 of those in. Okay. Gotta put the glass in. Okay. And gotta put the resin circuit board in. Make sure it's on 1. It is on 1. And there's our vacuum tubes. Easy peasy. Make some resistors. 2 of those. Now I just have to make the electronic circuits on our little assembly line here. And I know that we had the assembly line such that we could have it go around again, but there really isn't a need. I mean, there is the precision mechanism here, which if you're doing the sequence, yeah, you got to do that 3 times. But guess what we have? We have an assembler. And what does the assembler do? It does it all for you. 1 go. Not only that, but it uses less materials. So yeah, I don't think there's anything that we really need this for, except for just a straight shot right across. And in fact, I think the only thing that we can't use in the assembler is the electric circuit. And so I'm probably going to just take down all of this stuff in the back here eventually when I get to it. But until then, we just plop these on like we've been doing. Makes it so much easier. Wait, that's not right. What am I missing? I'm missing the electron tube. I knew it. That goes there. Then the plate goes there after it gets glued on. I can still at least click on that and throw the circuit board in to get it started if I want. Alright, circuit. Done. So now, click on the basic steam turbine and voila, we have another one. We can go hook it up. Now this would be the 3rd turbine here, but I think that's okay because we've got the 4x tin cable, so we could actually have 4 of these hooked up, which we might need to eventually. So for this one, let's see, I'm just going to stick it right there. Like that. So it's getting steam, it's whirring and everything. Problem is, it needs to be hooked up there. And I know I said that you'd have to look the opposite direction to get that to change or to get it into the right spot. But what you can do is use the wrench. And if you shift click, which I'm gonna have to shift and jump because I'm on the scaffolding. Come on. Shift and jump. Okay. So now if I right click on the top there, there we go. I just gotta get it not on this side, but the top. Now it moved that to the top. So if you look at this, you can see it's right on the top. Of course, now I've got a different problem. I gotta come over here and I gotta actually hook it up to the circuit. So get out my pliers and just go. But I can't see it, can I? Oh, this is in the way. Well, you know what? That's okay. We'll just take out this temporarily. Connect it. There we go. Now it's got power. And put it back. Done. We've got the washer, the thermal centrifuge, and the sifter all running at the same time. Nice. Alright, so now we want to make not the thermal centrifuge, but the plain one. Alright, how would I make you? We need 4 of these circuits, okay? Only 1 machine hole, of course. Some tin cables, gotcha. Actually, doesn't seem too painful. Oh, we gotta do that. There we go. There's all the rest of the stuff we need. I'll include the circuit board there anyway. Question is, do we have enough glue? 150. I Nope, we need 200. So we're gonna need 50 more glue. Oh no, I have to make some more glue. That's okay, we can make more with bone meal and lime water. It would actually fill up 2 buckets like this, which means I think we only need 4 bone meal. So we get to use our mixer again. Yeah, 200 millibuckets of glue. And take that over here and just pour it in the item drain. There, plenty of glue. Now the real hard part, hooking it up and getting it to work. I've been making a lot of tin wire in anticipation because I know it takes a lot of tin wire to make these wires here. X tin wire. Okay, great. I should have a spot for it already picked out. Yep, right there. That does mean we're going to have to move this back a little bit. So I did process some hazardous stuff. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Chromium dust. So I do not want to get this in my inventory. If I do, I will get sick. We can temporarily break this belt. And then just redo it from here all the way to... There we go. Now we've got a belt going all the way that direction. We can grab some tape. Make sure our offhand is free and just shift right click. So we can go ahead and grab this crate. Did it go into here? No, it didn't. It just went down. Flew all the way to the end. Let's go ahead and put it right on top of here. Now we just need to get some funnels. Now we can come back to here and go ahead and put one there and one there. That way we don't have to touch the hazardous stuff. And it will all go into the crate here. You know, it might actually be better to put on a brass funnel, because that would let things go out faster. And just use the brass ones. So let's go ahead and put the centrifuge right over there, like that. Now the tricky part, the filter. What do we want to go into the centrifuge? Okay, anything that is purified? No. Yeah, purified piles. So we have purified coal ore. Then we have purified pile. We want that to go through. Purified pile of Certus quartz dust. Yeah, so they're all purified piles. Because if you look at something like hematite, yeah, it's a purified pile of hematite as well, but we are not sending it through there. We are getting refined hematite. So let's grab a purified coal dust and a purified Certus quartz dust just to fill out the filter. Pure dust. It is a pure dust. Is that what we want? It might be. Let's add that. Is that what Certus is as well? Yeah, pure dusts. Now to double check, we'll grab a refined hematite ore and see if it has the same tag. It does not. It actually has a refined ores tag. Okay, so I think that means this is the right filter. So we'll put it on and we'll swap that around. Okay, there we go. It's getting power. Not a lot, not very fast. I wonder if that's because, well, the ore washer's not going. So it's got to be just because the thermal centrifuge is running. Maybe it's just the loss. I mean, it might be the loss because that is a pretty long cable run. I think that is it. It's all the purified stuff that we have. So we can come over here and we can just toss it in. Should get picked up. And it is. Okay, great. Now we just got to put some funnels on. There we go. So now that we're done with the ore processing, I want to add another machine over here in our set over here. And that machine is going to be a machine to make ice. So how do you get ice? The fluid solidifier. So the basic fluid solidifier, we can just feed it water, give it a casting block for a mold, and it'll make ice. And that way we don't have to deal with the tedious process of making the slush and the ice crystals and putting them in the barrels. So yeah, that's what I want to do next. A little quality of life thing. So basic fluid solidifier does not look too difficult. There's an LV electric pump. We've not done those before, but shouldn't be too difficult, right? Okay, plenty of stuff. Resin board, yes. Machine hull, of course. The pumps, they require motors and tin stuff. Okay, cool. Oh, they require styrene butadiene rubber rings? Is that right? No. We can do rubber rings, just plain rubber. Once again, we have to hit the favorite on that, undo that, redo it. There we go. Looking for the right stuff now. How do you make a rubber ring, though? That'll be interesting. All right, cool. Let's get this list together, and I guess that is quite a lot of stuff. Yeah, but we can manage it. Except we're gonna need a lot more rubber again. Oh. How bad is it to make a chemical reactor? Not bad, actually. It's pretty easy. If we had a chemical reactor, we could put the sulfur dust and raw rubber pulp into it and get liquid rubber, which we could then solidify into rubber ingots or sheets. Let's see, how much does it take to get a sheet from the fluid solidifier? Oh, only 144 millibuckets to get a rubber sheet. That would normally be 2 ingots. 2 ingots from 6 raw rubber and a sulfur. So with 9 raw rubber and a sulfur, you actually get 1.3 buckets. 1296 to be exact. Divide that by 144. That is 9. Which means you would turn 1 raw rubber pulp into an entire sheet of rubber. Okay, we are going to do that because that will solve a lot of our problems. So, change of plans. We'll do that first. Let's go ahead and get the chemical reactor. And then the solidifier. So yeah, I think we're stuck just getting the rubber the old way until we do that. But, you know, that'll be the next step then. Once we get the solidifier and we have ice going, we can also create the chemical reactor so that we can get rubber on the cheap because, man, that's been the bottleneck. So it's been a while. I've slept a few days or nights away. It's still not warm enough to have the latex from the trees. So, little side quest. Let's make a bunch of blue steel dust. And we want to do that so that we can make some blue steel lamps because our place is lacking a lot of light, really. And there's some light inside, but the factory, but you know, outside it's looking kind of dim. So let's increase this count. Okay, like 24. Yeah, that's good. So this is the tree of all of the dust that we're going to need to make the blue steel dust. I've got it all separated down to the individual elements, and we are going to make a bunch. Oh, if I do 40, there's only going to be 1 black bronze dust left. All right, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and make some of this. Doesn't take a whole lot. This is 22 steel dust. That's It's not that bad, not really. We've got a lot of steel, especially with our way of making more steel. All right, we're at our mixer. We need 2 electrum. We just need a silver and gold in there. So gold and silver. There are 2 electrum. Need 4 black bronze. So 2 electrum and 3 copper. And there's our black bronze. We need brass, so 3 copper and 1 bismuth. Or no, zinc. It's not going in. And our brass. We need bismuth bronze, so 4 brass and 1 bismuth. Okay, let's get the sterling silver. 1 copper and 4 silver. Okay, got the sterling silver. Now let's do the black steel. That's nickel, black bronze, and steel. Do I have to have the exact amounts in there? Looks like I do. Alright, fine. Well, we need 12 of those, so we need to do this 3 times. So 9 steel, 3 sterling silver, and 3 black bronze. 9 steel. Did I do that wrong? Oh, it's nickel, not sterling silver. What am I doing? Black bronze, 3 nickel, 9 steel. It's working. Okay, we got the black steel out of that. Now we just add the black steel, regular steel, bismuth bronze, and sterling silver. 5 sterling silver, 5 bismuth bronze, 20 black steel, 10 steel. And there we go, 40 blue steel dust. Now we just gotta go and heat this up and cast it into... Wait. No, in fact, what am I thinking? So, blue steel lamp, we need the unfinished blue steel lamp. We could go the route of doing the ingots and then smashing them into that, or we can use the alloy smelter. Oh, it does require the blue steel ingot still. Okay. If you had the fluid solidifier, you wouldn't have to, but we don't have that yet. So yeah, we gotta make all the blue steel ingots, which is not that difficult, because we could just use our crucible, melt it, and cast it using the ingot mold. Love how easy that is. Oh, we got all this pig iron too that I don't think we're gonna need for making the blue and red steel, because we've got the easier way of doing it. So now we can just throw it in here and make a bunch more steel. And if I'm not mistaken, I think these blue steel dusts actually heat up faster. The dust form heats up faster than the ingot form. So we could do a test. Let's grab just 1 blue steel ingot. As soon as we have these done, throw in all of these and see which one heats up faster. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, that is way, way faster. Oh, this is another really cool thing. You can, if you have the mixer, you can mix quartzite dust with flint dust. We were getting quartzite dust from processing the quartzite that we mined. You can also use quartz sand. Flint dust, yeah, you just crush flint. Wow, finally a use for flint. We're gonna go that route. Quartzite dust. I only have 3 of it. We can mix 4 and 16. We need a lot more quartzite dust if we're gonna make glass this way. I can also use quartz sand. Just crush sand to get quartzite. Well, we have in our glass making materials some sand that we grab, so we can grab that. And let's go this way, because we're going to crush it, right? I'll turn you off just for a little bit. We are going to crush this sand. It's going to make quartz sand. We use the mixer to mix in... Oh, we have to have flint dust as well. So 16 quartz sand to 1 flint dust. Sorry, dude. Stop you for a bit. We need... Check the flint in. Oh, that makes 1 flint sand. We have more flint somewhere. I'm sure we do. Well, this is where we use the list filter. Type in flint. Put it in there. We want flint. Okay, that's not flint. That's way too much flint. And you know what? We are going to go down here and do something fun. I switched this off because we're not using it, so we can just feed it once, go up here, crushing wheel should be going. Now I can just throw the flint into there. I said throw the flint. Right. There we go. Oh, look at that. That is so cool. Power of the crushing wheels. Alright, so now we've got the flint dust. A couple of flint dust, 32 quartz sand. That should give us all of the glass that we need. Okay, 32 glass dust. Nice. Okay, material molding, lamp casting mold. An empty mold first. That empty mold can turn into a lamp casting mold. Throw the blue steel into there. Let's just make 16 for now. See how far that gets us. Oh, it takes 28 seconds. That's actually quite a long time. But this is something that can be running in the background. Let's just make one of those for now, because we want to do the whole process. We also need glass dust, and I think it's a unfinished blue steel lamp that we need. Yeah. And we also put this in the alloy smelter. So, same spot, put the unfinished lamp and some glass dust, and that will make lamp glass. Nice. We're really gonna make 32 lamps? Yes. Yes, we are. Okay. Blue lamps. Oh. That's right, they don't stack. Alright, well, we finally got enough rubber. Here we go. I finally made it so that it was late enough in the season. We got the rubber from the trees, made a bunch. So now I am ready to finalize this solidifier. Okay, 2 of these special LV electric pumps. And now I think we have everything we need for the basic fluid solidifier. Oh, finally. Yay. Alright, so I think we'll do the same thing. Put the solidifier right there. A couple of chests right there and there. We got this thing up with some power. Oh, and that's right, we just had the one because we've been using only one machine at a time, so we've only been using the one tin cable, but I think we probably should change that because... Oh, and I'm gonna crawl. But that's okay, just crawl under. There we go. Because we're gonna be using the solidifier pretty much non-stop. And if we do that, then we're going to run into problems if we have other stuff running. So we're going to do, no. Let's see. I have to snap it on. Let's get in there. Fall back down. We need you to stamp on right there. There we go. Okay. Go up. And we can get to that from the top. Oh, we gotta disconnect that because, like we found, if you have a 1x wire hooked to a 4x, it will destroy itself. Okay. Along here to right here. Okay, hooked up. Now what we need to get into this is some fluid. Not entirely sure how much fluid it takes to make an ice cube. But we're going to find out with this gold drum. We do have water coming from right there, so I could temporarily just stick that right there. Yeah, it's filling up with water, because I know you can make ice in the fluid solidifier. Okay, we have to pipe in water and a block mold, and you'll get ice. 10 seconds, 144 millibuckets to make one ice cube. That is rather nice. And it makes sense because an ice cube is kind of like a water ingot. Now, I'm thinking we don't need to hook up a permanent water line to the solidifier just because we're not going to need that much ice. What we can do, unhook that, is just fill up a gold drum and do this, you know, I don't know, whenever we need ice. We could, I guess, throw it on top. Or, oh, there we go. It says it's empty. Is that because I have to hit it with a screwdriver? Yes. Oh, perfect. Okay, now we just need to put something into it that it's going to solidify, and that is the block mold, which we have one of these right here that we've been using to make glass blocks. Let's throw that in, and oh, look at it go. Oh, that's actually pretty easy. Oh, it ran out of power. Seriously? You know what? It's probably because I didn't shield these, and because of that, it's losing electricity along the way. So maybe we should look into how much rubber we're going to need to make the chemical reactor, and then once that's done, we can use that to make the rubber in the solidifier to make good casings. And until we do that, what we could do is take this and swap it, perchance. I hope it still has the water, but it probably doesn't. That's okay, water's pretty cheap. Okay, now since it's closer to the source, let's see if that makes it easier to actually run. Okay, so it's got water. Template back in. Yeah, see, it can actually go through at least once, but it's running out of power. And we can make that be the output side. There we go. It'll put ice in there. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed, but the world looks a little different now. I had to turn off shaders because now with so much stuff that we have going on, I was just getting so much lag, and so I turned off the shaders, and now it is super clear and crisp. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to play without the shaders. I really liked it. It's cool with the ambiance and everything, but you know, I think I would prefer less lag. Marcy, let's go. And while we're there, I think I want to set up one of those giant tanks like I have with the creosote in the basement. just to continue to collect as much of the latex as we can out of these trees, because once it's winter, they do not produce, and we need a lot of this stuff, especially since we're now in the electric age. All right, here we are. Let's see, temperature is good. The barrels are full, yeah. Okay, so my plan is to put pipes underneath here and hook it up to a pump to draw out the liquid and put it into a big old tank. So we're going to do a little bit of experimenting here. You know, this is dripping out. What would happen if I shaved this off right here? So if I hold shift so it doesn't cut down the whole tree, and I just shave off that little bit of wood. Still work? Okay. Shave off this one right here too. Now another thing that I want to test out is it really good to just have the one tap at efficiency 1, or if you have 4 taps going all around? Barrels on all 4 sides like this. Single barrel right there. Okay, we'll come back and check on this. I think what I'll do is once this barrel is full, I'll take taps off of these 4, and then we'll compare the amount in the 4 barrels to the one in the 1 barrel. Okay, so we've got all these planted in nice even rows with 2 blocks in between, which is exactly what we need. Now, I think it's time to check out our experiment. I know I was going to say this was going to be full, but I don't think it has to be full. We just have to start ripping taps off, and it should be fine. There we go. So I should have 6 taps to do. Okay. Now we can take a look at what we have in everything. And I think the best way to do that would be to put everything into 1 barrel. And there we go. 3,208 versus 3,184. So that is very close. In fact, the reason why it has more might just be because this was not an exact experiment. I didn't turn them all on and off at the exact same time. I put these on first. So barring any other further experiments, I would have to say that does not matter if you have 4 taps on one tree or just 1 tap. So I think we're going to stick with the 1 tap. Alright, there we go. We've got all of our saplings planted. In total, we have a 4x4, so 16. I have tons and tons of latex. I should have done this a long time ago. And the whole reason we went on that side trip was to get the sticky resin so that we could finish what we were doing on the chemical bath chemical reactor. There we go. We need the resin for the circuit boards, because we need 4 of these. Now we can just click on it and chemical reactor done. So now we got the basic fluid solidifier and the chemical reactor. Means we should be able to make the rubber sheets a lot easier now, because we use the fluid solidifier with a plate mold to get the rubber sheets. And in order to get the liquid rubber, we use the chemical reactor and put in the raw rubber pulp and sulfur dust. I don't think we actually need to output the polarizer to here. Whenever we use the polarizer, it's just like a one-off thing. We click on it, we throw the stuff in. It's so fast, it pops out anyway. So we are going to take these chests away, and we're going to put chemical reactor right next to the solidifier. Just like that. Okay, so we disabled this because it was not getting enough power. I think it's because we need to cover these up with rubber. We do have some rubber we've made. So we got 8 rubber sheets. We can go ahead and cover these so that they don't lose as much energy on their way. Should have power. Now let's try it on, see if it works. Oh, that is so much better. Yeah, look at that. We could barely get even 1 or 2 ice cubes out of this thing, and now it is running perfectly. So yeah, pro tip, always insulate your wires. But you know, that's why we got these two things right next to each other, so we can go ahead and make that rubber a lot easier. We won't be losing as much. Just let this run for a bit and get a whole bunch of ice so we can refill our lunchbox. Because right now I'm out of ice, and I didn't want to go through that process, so yeah. So now it is only 2 wires to go from the turbine into here. Yep, there you go. Oh, and I can see why, because it uses 30 EUs per tick. And that generator only generates 32 EUs per tick, which means if we want to have this constantly running, we would have to have a loss of only 2 EU. And each one of these cables, if you look at it, it's got a 1 EU loss per meter. So that means that we can only lose 2. And since we've got the 2 cables here, 1, 2, then that is perfectly synchronized. Alright, so now I'm going to show an example of using the chemical reactor and the fluid solidifier to make some rubber, which is the whole reason why we wanted to get this, because it makes rubber so much easier. I had to cover this up because I don't have enough roof, and this was getting wet and catching on fire. So I just threw some temporary blocks there. I need to build out the rest of the roof. So for rubber, you need to turn the latex into vulcanized latex. And instead of doing that in the vat, we can actually do it in the chemical reactor. We just need 1 bucket of latex for sulfur powder. It's exactly the same as the vat, only it'll do it with electricity, and it'll automatically put the vulcanized latex into the fluid solidifier. And that will automatically put it into the chest here. Then you take the rubber pulp and put it back into the chemical reactor to get liquid rubber, and then the solidifier will turn it into the sheets. And that's why we have this plate mold here. In the chemical reactor, we can just throw the sulfur powder in, and then take the ash barrel that's full of latex. We'll just shift right click to dump it in, and there you go. Oh, yep, see, there it goes. Automatically creating that raw rubber pulp from the vulcanized latex from the chemical reactor. 10 sulfur powder used because of 10 buckets of latex turned into vulcanized latex and then turned into the raw rubber pulp. Which then, what we need to do is we need to take the sulfur powder out, put the sulfur dust in, and the raw rubber pulp. This actually uses 9 rubber pulp and 1 sulfur dust. And that will create the liquid rubber, which, if you look at this, okay, let's just see. There's 114 rubber sheets. Okay, so once this is done, put the rubber into here. Only take a couple of seconds per rubber sheet. And it's only using 144 millibuckets, which is just 1 ingot basically. So 114 to 123. That means we made 9 rubber sheets out of just 9 raw rubber pulp. That is a great return. I think it used to be that it would take 3 raw rubber pulp. Yeah, it would take 3 raw rubber pulp to get 1 rubber ingot, and then 2 rubber ingots to get 1 rubber sheet. So essentially, we're getting a ×3 step right here, and a ×2 step right there, which means we're getting 6 times as much rubber sheets. It's fantastic. But you know, we're going to need that because we're going to have a lot of cables that we have to cover. And with that, I think we're going to call it an episode. We've got a lot done, including these 8 barrels in front of me, or to the side of me right here that I'm standing on now. That's all full of latex from the tree farm that we have down south, where we set up the pump to pump all of that latex into a giant tank. And so now anytime I need some, even during the winter, which it is now, I can just run down there and pick some up. So yeah, next episode, we're just going to keep on making more of these electric machines because they're awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed. Till then, catch you later. Bye.